In today's video, we'll be covering a step-by-step process of how to replace your spark plugs and also how to change the air filter in your vehicle. So firstly, with spark plugs, you will want to take off the ignition lead. So in this case, since the spark plugs have recently been changed, we're not replacing them, we're only demonstrating on one of them how to take it out and put it in. So there should be a plastic guide for your ignition leads. If not, that's not an issue. You just have to pull it out of the guide and then off of the spark plug. And when you're doing multiple at the same time, it's important that you label which one's which and put the ignition leads back in the same hole that they came out of. Otherwise your engine will misfire. Then next, you're going to want to get a spark plug socket of the correct size for your spark plug and put it in the hole with a ratchet spanner and just undo the spark plug with the ratchet. This is a sped up clip just because it's tedious to watch the whole process. And then once the spark plug is ready to be taken out, the end of the spark plug socket is magnetic, which holds the spark plug inside, so you don't have to worry about dropping the spark plug. So this is what a relatively new spark plug looks like. You won't see any electrode wear on this one. So that circular electrode in the middle, before we changed them, that was a triangle, which was causing excess fuel consumption in this car. The reason it's important to use a spark plug socket is because of the length of the spark plug, as well as the magnetism at the end that holds the spark plug in. When reinserting the spark plug, you should thread it in by hand, and you keep threading similar to a screwdriver until it's tight and you can no longer do it by hand. Again, this is sped up. And then once it's tight, you grab a torque wrench to the correct torque specification for your spark plugs in your engine. In this case, this is 25 Newton meters. You can have a digital or an analog torque wrench. The digital will have lights and beeps, but the analog will have a click once it reaches the specified torque. Once the spark plug is in, you can put the ignition lead or HT lead back on, making sure that it is the correct HT lead for that cylinder, and place the wire back in the guide. And next we have the air filter. So this should just be a series of screws, and they should all be the same head unless someone has changed them out in the past. Or alternatively, they can also be clipped in, so you'll have just a clip you need to undo, and then it comes out with tabs. When you have an airbox like that, it's important you don't break the clip or tabs when removing or replacing the airbox. So in this case, there's just a series of screws which is just tedious to take out. And there's also a crankcase breather, as you can see on the end, which is just the rubber hose that needs to come off in order to remove the top of the airbox. Now in some cars, the airbox placement is not on top of the engine. It could be toward the headlights, for example where my battery is. It just depends on your vehicle. And that's the inside of the airbox. As you can see, there's a lot of dust inside, which is what the air filter filters out. As my air filter has recently been replaced, the air filter doesn't need to be replaced in my car. so it's relatively clean, but yours may look darker and quite black than what it should be. Some air filters are even pure white, so you'll notice if they're dirty quite easily. And then with this, it's not too important to make sure what screws go where, and it's not important to torque the airbox to spec. You just keep going until the screws are tight. And again, this is sped up. Put the screws in the hole, put the current case breather back on if yours is connected, and tighten the screws. I hope you found this video both entertaining and informative. In the next video, we will be covering how to change your brake discs and brake pads. It's a longer video than what I've published before, and it's for more advanced people who are more confident in their abilities, but it should be quite enjoyable and informative to you anyway. Even if you don't plan on changing your brakes, at least you understand the process of how it's done. And thank you for watching, and goodbye.